Welcome to your Yardi Leasing dashboard. At the top of this page is a menu. Here, you will always have access to your home button, a proration calculator, your logout button, which you will use anytime you are not actively working in Yardi or have stepped away from your computer for any length of time, and your quick access icons, favorites, history, and quick person search menu. At the very left side of this screen, you also have a main menu. Notice the many drop-down items listed here. Roles, where you will switch between your conventional data entry screens and affordable data entry screens when working with any affordable or tax credit programs. Reports, where you can access Yardi Leasing reports. Residents, where you can find leasing available functions for resident management. Administration, where you can change your Yardi password at any time. And work orders, where you can access information about your site's work order history. In the top half of your screen is your sections area. On the left is your date section. Note the blue header for this section will always be titled as the current date. Yardi is date specific and will automatically populate the current date whenever you conduct a procedure or complete a function. This section is also where you will verify that the correct property code is populating in the prop/list field. Take extra care to ensure that your correct property code is populating in this field, especially if you have access to more than one property. In the center is your unit statistics section. This section of your dashboard gives you a quick look at your important occupancy numbers. As you'll notice, you can find the total number of units on your property, how many units are leased, how many units are physically occupied by your residents, any units in use as a model, those units on hold, and how many units you have available still to lease to prospective residents. And to the right is your quick links section. Use this section to quickly add a new service request or add a new guest card to your Yardi Voyager database. In the bottom half of your screen is your tools section. Here you will notice many dashboard tabs that give you access to your property details. A calendar tab showing any appointments, move-ins, or move-outs scheduled for each day. A dashboard tab that can be used for dashboard reports. An available units tab where you can search for available units using a variety of filtering criteria. A guest tab that allows you to manage your site guests. A renewals tab that offers detailed information about all upcoming renewals. You may also refer to this list as an expiring leases list. A pending work request tab that offers quick access to your site's open work orders. And a person search tab where you can search for any person, guest, prospect, resident, or past resident using a variety of criteria. Before you go, let's take a closer look at some of the auxiliary tools located on your Yardi Leasing dashboard. This search box here in your top menu can be used to search for specific functions or reports. Click on the search box to enter a report title or function title. Now click on the title from the populated dropdown to access the filtering menu. Great. The first step when generating reports or completing functions is accessing the filtering menu. The reports and functions search box is a useful tool. But remember, you may always access your reports and functions through the standard click path. If you don't know how to access a certain report or function, you can always refer to the Yardi Quick Reference Guide for assistance. This resource has been included in the course materials for this module. The Proration Calculator is another helpful tool when determining a prorated amount you must charge to a resident. The Proration Calculator is located in your blue top menu between your Home button and Logout button. You will always select the type of proration charges you need. Enter the start date of incurring charges, the total amount that needs to be prorated, then click on the Calculate checkbox. After these steps are completed, the Proration Calculator will return the prorated amount of charges you'll need to charge to your resident. Last but not least, let's take a more detailed look at the icons on your Yardi Leasing dashboard. The first helpful icon is your favorites list. You can create a list of all of your favorite or frequently used functions and reports. To add functions and reports to this list, you will need to hover over the title of the item you wish to add, right-click, and select Add to Favorites. You can use the Functions and Reports search box or use the standard click path. The clock icon is your history icon. This is a list of all of your accessed functions and reports during your active leasing session in Yardi Voyager. You can use this icon to quickly jump back to something you were working on earlier. And your person search icon. This icon is where you can generate a stable person search menu that is accessible from any screen in Yardi Voyager. By using this auxiliary tool, You will not have to return to your home screen every time you need to search for another prospect or resident guest card. The roles dropdown in your Yardi Leasing dashboard is how you will switch back and forth between your affordable data entry screens and your conventional data entry screens. The Reports dropdown in the Yardi Leasing dashboard gives you access to any reports available to view with the leasing level authorization. Some of the reporting necessary to complete month-end can be found with leasing access, but not all. Make sure you know which reports you will need help with if you are going to conduct month-end, but only have leasing access. Let's review all of the menu options within the Reports dropdown. There are 47 different residential reports in the Residential Analytics menu, available to you with leasing level authorization. You can find a detailed description of each report in the Yardi Quick Reference Guide resource, which has been included in the course material for this module. The reports in this area are focused on a variety of analytical topics for your property: resident specifics, residential focused reports, and financial reporting. While resident specifics and financial reports may seem intuitive or self-explanatory, what about residential? And what is the difference between resident and residential when it comes to property analytics? As you would expect, resident-specific reporting focuses on the resident as an individual. The resident directory report is a good example. This is a resident-specific report because it provides individual information about each of your residents: their name, contact information, statuses, and can even include individual lease information like lease dates and rental amounts. With that in mind, you can expect that residential analytics would involve residents. But how? This type of reporting and analysis focuses on residents as a group, or even many groups. Residential analysis can also include non-residents. In that case, it would be considered market analysis. The type of analysis you're hoping to conduct for your property will determine what information you need, and therefore the type of report you need to generate. For example, Sample Arbor Apartments is a newly constructed property located 2 miles from a college. It offers 1-bedroom units, has limited parking spaces, and is now ready to lease up. What type of information would you need in order to construct an effective grand opening marketing campaign? That's right. Residential information, or a residential analytics report, would be needed for your analysis. How might a resident report come in handy for sample arbors? Great. Planning a resident event would be best served by a resident report. The Unit Memos report will show you any memos that have been created for the units on your property. Reports under the Resident menu offer a broad analysis of your property using key points of financial, resident, and residential information. Your property's occupancy and rental revenue statistics can be found in the FPI Net Effective Rental Report. Each resident's most current ledger summary, found in Ledger. Resident demographics, or who lives at your property, can be found in the Demographics report. What resident file changes have recently been made for each new resident can be found with the Resident Activity report. And how to contact your residents using the Resident Directory report. Traffic reports offer highly detailed compilations of information about your site's traffic: guests that come to tour, guests that turn into prospects or pending applications known as conversions, and other quantitative statistics that show you how many and how frequently something might occur at your site. Traffic reports can help you determine what kind of preferences your market has when it comes to communicating with your office, staff, and interacting with your site tours or website features. Yardi Voyager is also capable of assisting you with sending follow-up and thank you letters to your guests. Work order detail reports are a great way to sort and filter through your site work order archive. Let's say Sample Arbors Apartments is having a supervisor's staff meeting, and the new maintenance supervisor asks this question: what kind of service requests seem to happen often here at the property? I'm planning next month's maintenance order and want to stock up on common use items. The Work Order Report menu has many data entry fields so that you can search, filter, and sort using an almost innumerable number of criteria and answer questions like this. The daily recap report, also known as a box score summary report, offers a quick view at your property's unit statistics, traffic activity, and conversion ratios. You can set a custom defined date range or view the daily, weekly, and monthly summaries. You can think of this as a broad summary view of all your traffic reports combined during a specific date range. The Find Resident function has been reviewed in the introductory module, but let's recap. Your person search icon is where you can generate a stable person search menu. By using this tool, you will not have to return to your home screen every time you need to access another prospect or resident guest card. The Residents tab also provides quick access to move-in functions. From here, you can search by specific guests or units that need move-in date adjustments. Similarly, the Residents table also provides access to move-out functions, where you can post notices, cancel posted notices, or adjust move-out dates. The Administration tab is where you can change your Yardi Voyager password, should you ever feel it has been compromised. Yardi will also maintain security by prompting a password reset every 120 days. Last but not least, the Work Orders dropdown is where you are going to find everything related to work orders. The Find Work Order option can be used for a more detailed search into your site's work order archive. The Add Work Order option can be used to enter in very detailed maintenance records. You can record a new service request, add a maintenance record for an after-hours emergency call, or add any maintenance record that did not follow the standard procedure and that has already been completed. The New Service Request link is where you will go to open a new work order for your resident in standard procedure form. Your Quick Links section on the Yardi Leasing dashboard has a quick link to this function. When opening a new work order, you must take care to include the following items: property code, a brief description of the issue which will be used like a title when pulling any work order reports, a detailed problem description to ensure that the exact issue is recorded and addressed properly, and access notes. This is where you will let maintenance know what procedures to follow when accessing the issue. If your work order involves a resident or occupied unit, all previously mentioned items are required, plus a few more. You must always ensure you are discussing a maintenance need with a lessee of the unit. Lessees are the only authorized individuals to discuss maintenance needs and provide access if a unit is occupied or leased. And you must always ensure that your access notes are complete and clear. If you receive permission to enter a unit granted by a lessee, you must notate with permission to enter in the access notes field. You must always ensure that pets within the unit are also notated for maintenance awareness, and that the animal will be either constrained or supervised by a responsible party while maintenance is inside. Posting a recurring work order can be a helpful tool for sites that might have recurrent maintenance tasks, like power washing an exterior facade or repainting curbs and parking space lines. When working in Yardi, some of the data fields are shaded blue. These are required fields, which means you must enter data into these fields before moving on to the next screen. Special characters can be construed as discriminatory practice, so make sure to avoid these items at all times. Remember that Yardi is extremely date sensitive. All guest cards must be entered into Yardi on a daily basis. This is very important as Yardi is date and time sensitive, which may affect waiting lists and tenant selection plans. Employees must not share any logon credentials with others and must always log out of their Yardi Voyager database and dashboard when it is not in use. Let's review those key items on your Yardi Leasing dashboard page. The top half of your screen is where you will find your Yardi Leasing sections: date section, unit statistics, and quick links. In the bottom half of your screen is where you will find your Yardi Leasing tabs. The three tabs we will use for today's interactive module are Calendar, Guests, and Person Search. When using the Person Search tab, you can use any identifying information: names, contact information like phones or emails. You can search for any guests associated with a unit, or even by license plate number if you are collecting this information. Before diving into our exercises for today, we'll review important data entry policies here at FPI. Always enter data into all blue fields. These fields are required to have data entered before saving. Always enter detailed notes when recording your interactions in Yardi Voyager. but remember to avoid special characters while doing so. Lastly, enter all information into Yardi on the day that it occurs and before the close of office for that day. Now that you know how to enter data in accordance with FBI policy, you are ready to enter a new guest card. First, locate the Quick Links section on your Yardi Leasing dashboard. Then select the Add Guest link. The first phase of entering a new guest card is to enter prospect information, name, contact information, and details about how they first contacted your property in the blue source fields here on the right. When entering your guest contact information, make sure you are using the correct fields correlated with the titles on the left. Yardi uses the home field for phone contacts in resident directory reports, so make sure to use this field for any primary phone contact information. Now entering floor plans. This blue field has an associated hyperlink titled Unit Type. You may click on the Unit Type hyperlink to pull up a menu and select the correct floor plan. Or you can simply type your property code and Yardi will provide a drop-down list of all floor plans you have at your site. Fields like this require a certain naming convention or exact codes. Make sure to enter exact codes or else you may receive an error message. Notice there is not a Save button on the prospect guest card. To save information, you must select Next or Previous in later phases to save your progress. After you are finished with the guest card leasing step, you will need to enter preference details, initial or estimated move-in date, and desired number of bedrooms. From the Preferences leasing step, clicking Next will bring you to the Occupants leasing step. The primary occupant will be listed on the guest card, and this is the information you have just entered. Any new occupants will need to be added to the guest card. Click on the New Entry icon to open a window where you will enter details about additional occupants. Include anyone that is 18 years or older and included in the application packet you have received. Anyone 18 years or older occupying a unit must submit an application. They are also responsible leaseholders or lessees and must be added to this record. Minors can be added at a resident's request, but are not required to be listed in the Yardi Leasing guest card. Before we continue completing the guest card, we're going to review how to schedule appointments and tours. First, if you have navigated away from the guest card, you will need to locate it and return to the guest card leasing step. From here, click on the New Entry icon. A contact screen will populate and you will complete the form appropriately to create the appointment or tour record you wish to attach to the guest card. Use the drop-down menu to select the type of contact, in this case, an appointment. Include who is conducting the scheduled meeting, and fill out the remaining information, date, time, property code, and any associated unit number, especially if you are scheduling a tour. Be sure to include detailed notes, items to discuss, reason for the guest visit, and any other relevant notes that could be helpful to anyone reviewing the anticipated schedule should be included. Yardi will automatically use the type dropdown and the date field from the contact window to populate this record in your calendar tab on your Yardi Leasing dashboard. Since you have identified this as an appointment, Yardi will generate a hyperlink titled Appointment and list it on the correct date in your calendar tab. Let's quickly review how you might record a tour for a guest which has already been completed and attach it to an existing guest card. First, locate the guest card that needs the tour record. New guest cards will show up in the Guest tab for 30 days. After those 30 days, if a guest card has had no updates, the guest card will drop off of this list and you will need to use the Person Search tab to locate your guest. Remember, guests are never deleted from the Yardi Voyager database. After selecting the correct guest, click on the Select Unit Leasing step. Locate the unit that the guest has toured and click on the Show checkbox. Complete the contact window and, as always, include detailed notes about the tour. You may include questions your guests asked or even indicate that they were pleased with the unit and plan to submit an application. You can create show records for each unit that was toured, or simply make one for the most preferred unit and list the other units that were viewed in the detailed notes during the tour. Since a typical leasing process occurs over a length of time, you may not be able to fully complete a guest card right away. In fact, it is unlikely you will fully complete a guest card at the time you are initiating a new one into the Yardi Voyager database for your site. So remember, new guests will stay in the Guest tab for 30 days. After that, you will need to use the Person Search tab to locate your desired guest card. When applicants are ready to submit an application or hold a deposit, you will need to select their preferred unit. This is also known as assigning a unit. From anywhere in the guest card, click on the Select Unit Leasing step in order to assign the guest to a unit. Locate the unit they wish to hold and click on the Select checkbox. This will assign the guest card to the unit and place it on hold. Doing so removes the unit's availability for other applicants to apply to the unit. If you are syncing your Yardi Voyager unit availability to a website, this will also remove the unit's availability online. Now that you have reserved the desired unit, you're probably far into the leasing process and may have anticipatory lease terms, expected move-in and move-out dates. In the rental options leasing step, you must confirm that the move-in, lease from, and move-out dates are correct. You'll notice a field titled Lease Term by number of months. This field will automatically populate 12 months, and Yardi will use this input to auto-calculate a lease to date. If the lease to or move-out date is incorrect, manually update the lease to field. The next step is a concessions leasing step. While you're not entering any concessions at this time, you will need to ensure that you notate any offered concessions in the guest card notes. All concessions must be PM approved before offering to a guest and should always be notated on the guest card. FPI has completed the on-site to Yardi integration for most sites, so the application form step may not be necessary at your property. For manual processing of applications, especially at tax credit or HUD properties, or any properties with bond unit designations, enter the information into the application information form from any received paper applications. The application charges leasing step is how you're going to tell Yardi that a guest is no longer a guest, but a pending application. You will need to verify that the charge date is on or before the expected move-in date for your prospect. Normally, on-site requires receipt of payment for application and holding charges from an applicant in order to submit their application. So this date will typically be gray, since the on-site to Yardi integration is complete for most sites. If there's still a need to charge application charges manually due to a desync error or during a manual application process, you will need to verify that the charge date is correct and that the application charge amounts are also correct. You'll then select the Next button to confirm the charges and select the OK button in the populated dialog window to confirm again. When making any adjustments to a resident ledger, you must always ensure that the charges are populating on the resident ledger correctly. Correct charge code, amounts, and any necessary notes should be verified when making ledger adjustments. You may view a guest card ledger from the application status leasing step, cancel applications, or execute leases in order to begin the move-in procedure for a new resident. At tax credit sites, you will need to stop here and wait for approval from FPI's third-party tax credit compliance auditors, Karen Graham. If you are canceling an application, make sure you understand FPI policy for any holding deposit and/or application fee refunds that might be applicable. SOP handouts are included in the course material for this module. Executing a lease is the first step to a move-in procedure, which you will learn during the Yardi CD/ACD training course. For now, just know that executing a lease is how you will tell Yardi that the lease your prospect has signed is going into effect. One of the main functions of property management is to manage resident service requests, or work orders. Most properties provide residents with the opportunity to submit work orders online using their resident portal, but sometimes you may have to input maintenance requests directly into the Yardi Voyager database if your residents do not have access to a resident portal, or if you're receiving a maintenance request via phone or email. Click Next to start the exercise. There are two ways to create a new service request. Navigate to the Yardi Leasing dashboard and select the New Service Request hyperlink in your Quick Links section, or from any screen in your Yardi Voyager database, select the New Service Request menu option from the Work Orders dropdown in your main menu. Imagine you receive a call to your office. When you answer, you are told that maintenance needs to come fix a clogged sink in Unit 6 from someone named Mark. When opening service requests, you must ensure that you verify maintenance needs with a current lease holder. To do this, you will select the New Service Request link, enter the property code for the property at which this request is being made, the associated unit number, then select Search. Clicking Search will populate a table listing all current lease holders. As you can see here, Mark, who has just called and reported a maintenance need, is not listed as a leaseholder. Therefore, you will need to reach out to a current resident on this list and verify if the reported maintenance need is real. In this scenario, let's say Angela Johnson answers her phone when you call. She confirms not only the maintenance need, but verifies that Mark is her brother. It's important to note that maintenance requests often provide entry access into a resident's unit. Ensuring you are discussing maintenance needs with the current leaseholder is more than a liability concern, it is a safety precaution for your residents. You never want to allow access to a unit or set up an appointment time where the unit is open and accidentally give access to a unit to anyone who does not actually live within. Once you verify maintenance needs with an authorized person, you will select the checkbox for any resident reporting a maintenance need or verifying a maintenance need, and then click Next. After clicking Next, you will have the opportunity to fill out the work order. Your brief description will be used like a title when viewing your pending work requests on your Yardi Leasing dashboard. The priority designation will help prioritize your work order based on emergency or non-emergency status. Category and subcategory are helpful dropdowns that sort maintenance records. These are criteria you can use to search by in your property's maintenance archive. And of course, access notes. When receiving permission to enter, you will need to select the OK to enter checkbox and include the phrase permission to enter fully typed out. Do not abbreviate the PTE, as this is industry jargon and for legal purposes is insufficient notation. Be sure to include notes regarding pets that may be living within the unit. Pets must be contained or supervised when maintenance is inside. Then select Save. Now that you have opened Angela's work order, you will need to print 2 copies and hand both to Jeff, our maintenance technician in this example. When Jeff completes the work in Angela's unit, he will fill out both copies of the work order, leave one in Angela's unit, and immediately return the other copy to the office. When you receive a returned and completed service request at the office, navigate to the Yardi Leasing dashboard page. Go to the Pending Work Request Leasing tab and find the correct work order entry. Click the Complete option to begin the closeout procedure. Remember, all blue fields are required, so you must have data entered into any blue field or else Yardi will not save your progress. Be sure to verify that the auto-populated date is correct. This date must reflect the date maintenance entered the unit and completed the work. It is vital that maintenance teams are returning work orders to be closed out on the day the work is finished. In the Completion Notes blue field, you will include any notes annotated by your maintenance team along with the responsible maintenance team member's name. In this case, Jeff wrote, "Unclogged sink, it is now working properly." Then select Save. Once you have closed a work order, there is a last step that cannot be missed. You will need to follow up with the resident to confirm that they are satisfied with the maintenance work completed in their unit. Follow-up is a due diligence step and can be completed via phone call, answered or unanswered, and in that case you would leave a voicemail, or via email if that is the preferred method of contact by your resident. It should sound something like, "Hello, Angela, this is Anna from Sample Arbor's Apartments Leasing Office. Maintenance let us know that they went in and unclogged your sink. Is everything working properly? Is there anything else you need?" If she answers and says, "Yes, it works great. Tell Jeff I said thank you." You're complete with your follow-up. If she does not answer, you would leave a voicemail. With this call, the work order can be fully closed and archived. Leasing-only access does not have the Yardi Voyager functionality, so while you are able to conduct the resident contact for following up, someone with the CD ACD level authorization will need to complete this function in Yardi Voyager. While a work order is pending, or even if it has been completed, you are able to edit and make updates as to the progress of maintenancing for this work order. For example, if Angela's sink was clogged and upon arrival, maintenance finds it is also leaking due to a parts malfunction, therefore needing a part replacement, you would be able to make an edit on the existing work order with these notes to further expand on the problem description.